Hi, I'm Jen and welcome to my channel. For those of you who are new here, I am a self-taught artist and a small business owner. When I first began sharing my art online, my goal was to post 5 times a week for an entire year. I did this to practice my skills and to develop my art style. And after opening my online art shop, I wanted to expand my product line and offer a variety of options for my customers. So in my first year, I designed over 100 different stickers and created my own memo pads, enamel pins, prints, washi tape, button pins, gift tags, bookmarks, and greeting cards. With all the art that I've created over the past year and a half, you may wonder, how am I able to keep creating and avoid art block? And the truth is, I can't completely avoid art block, but I do my best to minimize the chances of it happening. I'm sure every artist has experienced art block at some point, and we all know that it's not a pleasant experience to be in. That's why I make an effort to understand what may cause art block and take measures to prevent it from occurring. Today I'd like to share some common causes of art block and my strategies to minimize its impact in case you're currently experiencing art block rut or are looking ways to help prevent it. In my experience, burnout is the primary cause of my own art block. As a self-employed artist and small business owner, I have taken on multiple roles to keep things running smoothly within my business. While I'm the artist and designer of all my products, I'm also responsible for other things like marketing and determining cost, creating listings on my website, taking photos, and the list just keeps going. And even though I love what I do, there are times when I just can't seem to muster up the energy or the motivation to create new work. If you're feeling this way, don't worry. It's completely normal. Burnout can happen to anyone. It happens to the most seasoned artist or even to those who are just starting out. Let's be honest, as artists, we all go through periods where our creativity seems to have disappeared. It's like our brains are on strike and refuse to come up with any new ideas. And then there are also those moments when you're working on a new art piece and you're excited to get it done, but it's just not turning out how you envisioned it. And it's such a frustrating process. People always say to, trust the process, but honestly, that can be easier said than done. And sometimes no matter how hard we try, it just seems that we can't make it work. And when that happens, it's easier to feel stuck and defeated. I've been there, and to be honest, I've even given up on some projects or two in the past and just decided to move on to something else. But that's totally okay. It's normal to hit roadblocks in your creative process, and sometimes it's best to take a step back and come back to it later with fresh eyes. Do you ever feel like your inner critic is taking over your creativity? It's like you want to create something amazing and great, but that little voice in your head keeps telling you that you're not good enough. Well, that's the imposter syndrome talking, and it's a common feeling among many of us creative and artists. I'll be honest, I've experienced it myself plenty of times before, and there have been times when I've questioned whether anyone will like my art or if someone will have something negative to say about it. It can be nerve-wracking to put ourselves and our work out there, especially when we're not sure how people will receive it. But I've realized that the more I create and stay focused on my arts, the more confidence I've gained in myself and in my abilities. Sure, there will always be people who will find something mean or hateful to say about your work, and there's always going to be critics out there, but I remind myself that if others can do it, so can I, and so can you. I think it's important not to let our inner critics hold us back from creating something amazing. I think it's good to trust in our abilities and our unique voice and to not be afraid to share, our creations with the world. I'm sure your art is bound to resonate with someone out there. Sometimes life throws us curveballs, and it can be hard to find inspiration or motivation to create when you're dealing with personal issues. It's important to remember that we can't control everything that happens to us, but we do have some control over who we allow in our lives. As I've grown older and more confident in myself, I learned that it's crucial to surround myself with positive and supportive people. I've realized that life is too short for negativity and toxicity, and having draining people in our lives can really impact our work as artists. So if you're constantly finding yourself creatively blocked time and time again, it may be time to take a moment to consider who you're spending your time with. Are the people you're surrounding yourself with lifting you up and encouraging you and supporting you with what you're doing? Or are they constantly bringing you down and making you feel a lot of self-doubt? It's totally okay to set boundaries with people who aren't good for your mental health and well-being. And trust me, you'll feel much better and more inspired when you surround yourself with happy and healthy, fulfilling relationships. To beat art block, there are a number of things I try to do when I feel stuck and unmotivated or uninspired. Taking a break can be one of the best things you can do when you're feeling stuck. It's easy to get lost in our work and forget to give ourselves a break, but stepping away and clearing our minds can be exactly what we need. There are plenty of activities you can do to give yourself a break. One thing that I find helpful is journaling. I've been journaling for years, and when I'm feeling overwhelmed, writing out my thoughts and feelings really helps me slow down and have a moment to reflect on what's bothering me. If writing isn't your thing, however, you can always try watching a movie or a TV show, perhaps going on a walk, playing your favorite games, or even talking to your friends or family. The key is to find some sort of activity to do that doesn't take too much of a mental effort and that will help you unwind and have a little bit of a distraction from the art block that you're dealing with. Another effective strategy to get out of an art block is to experiment and play around with new mediums or techniques. Sometimes it's helpful to break out of our normal routine because it can spark new ideas and inspiration. As artists, many of us have a natural obsession with constantly expanding our art supplies. I know there's always that new paintbrush we need to have or that new type of paper we want to try out. If you're finding yourself in an art block, try experimenting with new mediums or techniques. You might have a medium in your supply right now that you haven't used in a while, so now might be the perfect time to try it out. Personally, I mostly create digital art, but I also have a hoard of traditional art supplies that I can turn to whenever I feel lost within my art. During these times, I try not to think too much about what I want to create. Instead, I let my hands be free to scribble on the page, and I just try to be loose with my hands, and sometimes I draw something that I always draw. The point here is to release ourselves from the pressure of creating something good or purposeful. Sometimes intentionally creating bad art can help us get unstuck and find inspiration. I think that by recognizing what we don't like, we can narrow down what we do like and what direction we want to take our art next. When I struggle to find motivation within myself, I often look outward for inspiration. One of my favorite sources of inspiration comes from other artists or nature or just everyday objects in my life that I see. You can try out things like visiting an art gallery, going to museums, watching documentaries, or just drawing objects around you that you see in your life. Personally, my go-to for inspiration is Pinterest. It's great because it's an endless source of ideas and inspiration for me. I can find references for new ideas or get inspired by other artists' work, and it helps spark some sort of creativity for me. Additionally, I also like to look back at my own art to see how far I've come and to watch my art style develop over time. If I'm feeling stuck, I'll redraw an old illustration from when I was first starting out, which takes off the pressure of coming up with something new and instead puts that energy into just creating. Another way I stay inspired is through my workspace. I've mentioned this in the previous video, and I think that creating a workspace that is both productive and inviting can have a significant impact on our creativity. I like to have prints on the wall in front of me that keep me motivated, and I also keep little trinkets and toys around my desk, and each has a special memory attached to it. So when I feel stuck with my art, I can take a moment to look around in my space, feel good, and sometimes find something that helps me get back on track with my art and creativity. To minimize the chances of experiencing art block, I've learned that it's also super helpful to understand when I feel most creative and inspired. Typically for me, that's in the evenings or afternoons, after I finish all the other boring and less exciting tasks of the day. Drawing during these times helps me unwind because I can engage in something that I truly enjoy. Often, I'll watch a movie or a TV show while I draw too, so it's just a fun moment for me at the end of every day. This is not to say that I can't create art at any other time of the day. I think that identifying the times and environments that help me stay creative is an effective way to reduce art block. However, I don't limit myself to only drawing in the evenings. And whenever I do feel inspired during those random times of the day, and I always take advantage of those moments because I don't want to suppress my inner artist. Rather than striving to create a masterpiece or our best work every time, setting small achievable goals can help prevent art block or overcome a creative rut. With small goals, you can slowly build up the courage and regain your creative momentum. For instance, I like to spend some time doing small, quick doodles. Then I may select one of these doodles and develop it further by adding the line work, the color, and some details. It's all about slowing things down and resisting the urge to rush through the process. Feeling rushed can add unnecessary pressure and stress, which I think is counterproductive to fostering creativity. In today's world, I think many of us have become accustomed to instant gratification, and that's all thanks to the internet and the vast amount of content that it offers every single day. While I appreciate the internet's power, I do believe that it's also important to practice balance in our lives. As an artist, I find myself scrolling through social media and comparing myself to other artists. Seeing their work can be very inspiring, but it can also make me feel inadequate, as though I'm not creating as much art or as often as other artists are. However, it's crucial to remember that we're all at different stages within our artistic journeys, and comparisons can be super discouraging. Many of us fear encountering art block, which can be a difficult challenge to overcome. However, by understanding ourselves and our creative processes, we can minimize its impacts. Although it's sometimes inevitable, I try not to view art block as a scary obstacle, but rather as part of the learning process that helps me grow as an artist. If you found this video helpful, please leave me a like, and if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. Additionally, don't forget to subscribe for more art-related videos, and if you want to further support me and my small business, please consider taking a look at my shop. The link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!